Save all your salt and vinegar for your fish and chips. Howdy howdy world, welcome back to the Hydroblasting channel where we make old shit look new again, except for hats. We can't do anything with hats. I'm your host Craig Jenkins, and today we're going to do some more work on the CBR250RR project. We're going to clean up the triple tree and the strap-ons, clip-ons. Where did I get strap-ons from? Then we'll chuck the forks back in. That'll allow me to get some wheels back under this thing. As you can see, I've done a bit of off-camera work reassembling some of the other bits we already cleaned up. I actually wussed out on stripping the carbs right down and only cleaned the insides of these things. The 10-year-old petrol in there wasn't pretty and everything was well and truly gummed up. One of the idle mixture screws was fucked, so I've got another one on the way. Hopefully I'll be able to access the carby when it gets here. Well, here's all the stuff we're going to be cleaning up today. First thing we're going to have to do is probably wash all that grease and dirt and shit off these bits. This lower clamp here appears to be cast iron or cast steel, so we're gonna blast that, then we're gonna paint it. All of these bolts, we're going to actually zinc plate those. I'll give you a look at how that's done. The upper clamp here, it's painted black. We'll blast that back to bare aluminium. And all these bits here will zinc plate as well. Okay, we'll start cleaning this crap up. Well, thanks to the magic of television, I've just saved you guys about 20 minutes of boring, scrubbing, degreasing rubbish. Okay, what we'll do now, I think first we'll clean all these parts up that I'm going to zinc plate, and because they need to be rested for apparently 24 hours to harden up. But anyway, we'll see how we go. I'll chuck all these bolts and bits and pieces in the blaster, clean them all off, and then give you a look at the plating process. Well, here's a look at the bolts we're going to zinc plate. They're nice and clean, and I've hung them by the neck with copper wire. We'll take them over to the zinc plating department now, and I'll give you a look at what we do with them next. Well, here we are at the zinc plating department. We get the bolt, we dip it in there for a couple of seconds. That's hydrochloric acid, 5%. Give it a quick rinse off with water, and we scoot up here and we put it into the degreaser. Give it a couple of dunks in there, swish around. There we go. Into the rinse bucket, get rid of the degreaser off it. And then we hang it in the plating bath. And we repeat that step until we've got them all in there, and I'll be back in a minute. Well, there's all the bolts hanging in there. I've got my little circulating pump going in there. So next thing, we turn on this power supply here. We'll click that on. We could use some fancy formulas to work out what current we're going to be using, but I looked at that. I reckon we'll set that at about 1.5 amps. Close enough, and we'll give that 10 or 15 minutes and we'll come back for the next stage. Well, 15 minutes has elapsed, so we'll turn this thing off now. We'll grab one of the parts here. Now we're going to make all these a pretty yellow gold colour, so I'll show you the process for that. Oh, it's got a nice little shiny coating of zinc on it, so we just rinse that off in the rinse bucket. We back down here to the acid. We give it about 2 seconds in there. Rinse the acid off. Then we bring it back up here and dunk it in the yellow cordial for 30 seconds and just swish it around for a bit. Okay, that's had 30 seconds in there. We just pull that out gently. We'll just give that a quick rinse. Now we'll hang it up to dry and watch the gold solution colour come out nicely. Well, there they are on the drying rack. We'll have a go at the other bits now and make them the same pretty colour. They're looking delicious. I'm just going to have a go at that lower clamp now. I'm going to chuck that in the TARDIS and blast all that paint off and give it a coat of aluminium paint. I've just put a bit of gaffer tape around that bearing just to stop any direct impact, but before I paint it I'll give it a good wash out and make sure there's no glass in there before it's painted. There's that lower clamp with a coat of paint on it. I didn't have time to muck about with that. As soon as I pulled it out of the booth, it started to flash rust. So I warmed it up, painted it, and now we'll move on and have a go at some of the other bits. Well, I've just chucked the other bits and pieces in the plate and bath, so we might have a go at doing these clip-ons while we're waiting for the other stuff to cook. Well, there's one clean clip-on against one dirty clip-on. That's bike porn right there. Just thought I'd take a quick break from the blasting. I'm going out fishing tomorrow. I've got the apprentice over here digging me some worms. How's it going, Puno? Getting a few? Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh. Thank you. Puno will be left in charge of the workshop tomorrow while I'm out fishing. While I've got the zinc plating kit up and running, I might clean these bits up and give them a coat of just plain zinc without the colour, and I'll show you how they come up. Well, those two brackets have been blasted clean. I've got a bit of an experiment happening here. I've run this one on the wire wheel on the grinder and polished it up a bit, and this one's just straight out of the hydroblasting machine. So we'll put them both in the zinc plate and bath, and it'll be interesting to see the difference, if any, when they come out. It's the same process for these. We'll drop this in here for a few seconds into the acid and give it a bit of a clean. Rinse that off in the water. We'll just pop that in the degreaser bath, give that a bit of a wash, rinse the degreaser off, and then we'll hang it in the plating solution. And we'll get the other bit and do exactly the same, and then we'll turn it on. We'll probably run that at 1.5 amps, I reckon, for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll pickle them in the chromate dip. Well, it's been 15 minutes in there. We'll do the same process as before. We'll turn that off. We'll grab one of these out of here. Well, that's looking all right. We'll put it in the rinse bucket. We'll come down here and give it 2 to 3 seconds in the acid. Rinse it off. And then we'll come up here, and we won't go in the yellow cordial this time. We're gonna dunk it in the blue cordial for 30 seconds. Okay, we'll pull it out of there, we'll rinse that in the water, and then we'll, same as before, we'll hang that one up to dry as well. Well, there's all that plating I've done there. That yellow stuff, that gold stuff's come out looking very sexy. Jury's still out on the plain zinc coating. This is the one that I ran on the wire wheel. And yeah, it's just not as good as the one that I just ran through the Vaporblaster. It's a bit shinier, but there's marks showing through it, whereas this one had a uniform finish from the blasting, and yeah, it looks very nice. But I think with this one, what I'll do is I'll blast all that crap off again before I put it on, and I'll plate it the same as I did that one. Hey, and while we're talking about plating, let me offer you DIY guys a bit of advice. Stop researching secret formulas on the internet because they're all shit. I tried most of them and ended up going with the solution provided by a mob that sells plating kits. So save yourself months of heartache and buy the proper stuff first up. Save all your salt and vinegar for your fish and chips. That's the second clip on done there. Now we'll move on to this upper clamp and see what we can do with that. And after we've done that, I reckon we're getting close to putting this thing back together. Have a look at that, folks. Beautiful. If there's nothing else on this video today that floats your boat, that's surely going to give you a bit of a twinge, I would have thought. Anyhow, I reckon we've got enough bits here now to start reassembling that front end. I probably won't bore you with me packing grease and all that sort of stuff. We'll give you a look at it when I've got the front back in and see how she looks. While we're here, there's the a Borg-Warner transmission housing that came in. I got the apprentice to do that yesterday while I was out fishing. That come up all right too. Well, there we go, viewers. That's the triple clamps back in and the forks back in the bike, along with the pretty zinc plated bolts and bits and bobs. There we go, it's starting to look like a motorcycle again. Alright, I think we'll do those wheels next and get it up in the air a bit. Anyhow, I reckon that'll be enough for today. If you like what you're watching, give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share the video with your mates if you think they might be interested, and check out my other videos as well. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Craig Jenkins and you're not.